The people behind Helstrom want us to know about the Marvel connections in this show. Take a guess as to how they're going to play this. Just take a guess before we actually get to what they say. If you thought the Netflix stuff was disconnected, oh boy, get ready for this one. So we've already covered the fact that Helstrom is going to be a bit of a different series. It's a departure from what we've had so far in the MCU. And of course, when you look at that trailer, you automatically get that. You know, it's different from what we got from Daredevil. It's different from what we got from the ABC shows. And it's definitely a far cry from what Marvel Studios does with their films and of course their Disney Plus shows. Hence why it doesn't even have Marvel branding on it anymore. Now make no mistake, this is still a Marvel show as it's a Marvel property, but you have to understand a few things. When the first 4 episodes were already complete, that's when Kevin Feige took over and he decided to cancel all the other shows, but this show was already past the point of no return, so they had to complete it, and things were obviously changing behind the scenes. You could probably realize that they sort of understand that this is maybe going to be a one and done, and that's really it. And the fact that I can pretty much guarantee that they had to downplay their connection to the bigger Marvel universe. So recently, when they were asked about how exactly does this connect to the MCU and the Marvel world, they essentially go out there and say, well, it's a Marvel show, it's set in the Marvel world, but we're not connecting it to anything like Daredevil, for example, or any of the other Marvel properties, because that's not what we're exploring. We're exploring a darker, scarier, more thematically fear-based series here that doesn't connect to those, so you're not going to see those elements. Now, of course, previously, you know, on Hulu, we had Runaways, and we had Cloak and Dagger over on Freeform, which then came to Hulu, and if you watch those shows, they're very distinctly set in the MCU. There's quite a few references there to, you know, some of the things going on. There's direct references to Rand, there's direct references to Luke Cage multiple times, and even mentioning some of the things that are happening, but then it sort of stopped as it got further along in each series, and they sort of just don't play with it at all. And I think that's when, you know, they knew that things were going to change down the road. So what they're saying here is like, yes, we're set in the Marvel universe. Yes, we'll acknowledge that it's, you know, some of those elements if you're familiar with the comics and who Daniel Helstrom is, but if you're not, yeah, you're not really going to know this is a Marvel show. And that kind of makes sense because the series is, as they say, in the MCU, but you're not going to know that unless you really pay attention and there's a few subtle nods to it because they don't want it to be due to the violence.